in the context of a relationship that has a clearly defined power dynamic where the man is dominant and in control and sets the parameters of the relationship up. If that relationship fails, everything falls on him. I completely agree. I think that the issue, I think what Coco was trying to say was if the relationship is faltering, it's something he didn't do to make the relationship work. And although that seems like a hard to believe concept, she also referenced men checking women. So making sure you put her in line for the parameters in which she needs to operate in for the relationship to be successful. I'm a firm believer personally that if you do those things and lay your lick down, then the women will fall in line and go forward. And if she does not, remove her from that relationship before you get kids or it gets too far down. Once you get past the point of you laying your lick and she don't listen and you keep fucking with her, you put yourself in a trick bag because once you have kids or any of those other things, the relationship is doomed. It's just you don't know what day or how long it's doomed for. But an unruly, disrespectful woman that you can't get a hold of and rail down, it's never going to work long term. And in that regard, that will fall back on the man for allowing himself to keep that woman around without replacing her or getting her in line so he didn't have to deal with that shit no more. Damn, I had another point I was gonna say. All right, you go ahead to the next part.
So hold on. So you
it's my
answering that
turn.
question.
It was
Hold
my
on.
turn.
You answering that question based on your belief that there's no I'm gonna use Sweeney or Trez. There's beyond the realm of possibility that there's no way that a man can get into a relationship with a woman and not be able to see the signs that he shouldn't get into it with her.
I think that men see those signs and they ignore them.
Or well, no. I'm saying that you believe it's an absolute thing. Like there's no way impossible that Sweeney can get in a relationship with Aisha and be shocked at a different personality trait or something that arises that can break the relationship after he had already took the step to get married and all this other stuff or have children.
I think that's on the minority side, not the majority side. It's possible, but I don't think that's the majority of what's happening.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you answering it from that.
I'm answering from the majority sense. Yes.
But what if I told you there's statistical data and experiments that's been run from 2009 all the way up to now that suggests that a lot of some of these red flags that are deal breakers in a man's perspective and in the woman's perspective is either way, man or woman. It ain't just a woman, it's man and woman. A woman can get in a relationship with a man and find out later on that there's something that can break the relationship and vice versa. What if I told you there's statistical data that support that? And there's cases that support that you can actually get into a relationship and end up discovering something about your partner that if you had known that before you got into it with him, you would have never continued with him.
So I think that goes back to, I know y'all hate the YouTube talking point, but vet better because it's certain things that like you should know the things that really turn you off or off-putting that you can't deal with and be avidly looking for those things. If you can't see some of these signs or some of the things, unless that person has a mental illness. Now in that regard, I can see that jumping out and being like they have a totally different chemical imbalance and they become a new person. But
these signs are developed. These signs, even a person who showed these signs, even a person who showed these signs, even a person who showed these signs, they never had those same issues or same deal breaking. They never had those deal breaking issues in the beginning. This is something that they developed over time. And another factor is a desire to just exit because they grew in a different direction, that they didn't even foreknow that what could happen before they got in a relationship. So you would have never, it was impossible for you to see this.
So this is why I believe in the type of power dynamics where the woman actually follows your lead because you have a hand in guiding the person she's becoming within that relationship. And if she's becoming something that you don't like, it's because you either selected somebody that would not follow you down the path you was trying to take her, or you didn't give her a clear instruction on how you wanted her to get there.
Well, it's the vice versa too. How do you answer for that? Because it's the man that he has never hit a woman, ever. But 10 years into the marriage, he start hitting the woman. You would have never been able to predict that that's a deal breaker and prevent you from getting in that relationship. But 10 years down the line, this man became a fucking expert boxer or training and shit. And he started drinking. And now he started using his skill against his wife to get her to shut up.
Yeah, we talking about a mental illness. I mean, alcoholism and drug addiction is a mental illness. I made the exception for mental illnesses.
And then
So
that falls into domestic violence, which is a
when,
reason to divorce someone.
when someone changes the core tenets of who they are due to a mental illness, which is an illness, then that's a completely separate entity. Then people be in a relationship and they just grow apart. If they just growing apart, 9 times out of 10, the relationship ended because of something in the beginning. I think that's the most important part that got to really be pressed on. The end of the relationship or how everything pan out is not. It's determined by how things move forward from the beginning. It's like building a house. If you had a very shaky foundation and you built a perfect house on top of that shaky foundation, it's still gonna fall down because the bricks that was supposed to be laid underneath not together. So that's initially what I'm saying. And as men, we create the dynamics that tailor and suit us specifically, because what I like might not be what Sweeney like, and that might not be what Darwin like. So the way I want my woman to act and the type of woman I'm gonna have a relationship with, it won't work for Sweeney, or it might not work for JR. But knowing myself, I set the parameters, and I could tell when somebody's gonna get outside those parameters or it's too much for them, barring a mental illness.
Go ahead, Daph.
So I agree with Marcus a lot. And the reason why I agree with him, because when it comes down to the men that y'all speaking about, the men that leads the household and can do the things that he do with the household, I've noticed that when I meet those men, they're very careful about where they plant their seed. Very, very careful. Those men are not willy-nilly out here creating the problems that we're talking about. So that's first and foremost. I think the reason why most men can't while most things are not fixed, I don't think it's all on the man, and I don't think it's all on the woman. Sometimes people just grow apart. But I do agree that most of it, I do feel like it's falling back on the men. And it's not even because they're like, y'all use the excuses of like, oh, the man is not leaving, the man is not leaving. I understand that point. I definitely understand that point. But a lot of men don't know how to fix issues nowadays. They don't know how to pay into the woman's emotions. They don't know how to pay into what's going on. And I feel like the same way men problem solve with getting this job and getting this money, if they had that same problem solving capabilities when it came to women, we wouldn't have a lot of these issues. If they had these same problem solving capabilities when your woman tell you, because I think a lot of men, especially on this podcast, I think you guys go into it with different intentions, and because those weren't your intentions, you don't believe that's the effect your words had on women. But at the end of the day, regardless of your intentions, the way you word things and things out, it's gonna get us riled up. And if you're communicating with a woman that way, especially something you're trying to fix, or men, because like y'all said, the men are staying. The men are staying. The men are staying. You're gonna stay if you're making all the mistakes and the woman barely doing
That's not
anything.
true.
But you're gonna stay if you're making all the mistakes and the woman isn't really doing anything. So my issue is like, well, not my issue, but I think just from observing a lot of stuff, when I hear women, the reason why they don't want to stay with men through a lot of the stuff that they do, the reason why they don't want to continue to work things out, because they really are not prone to like knowing how to fix it, like, and going forward and making sure she's feeling safe and comfortable in her voice and the things
Did you
that's
hear the other
happening.
side of the story from the
Do you
man
see
that they
Rashida?
failed with?
You
Huh?
said what?
Did you hear the other side of the story? The man's side of the story that they failed with.
What do you mean his side of the story?
You
I
said
feel
when
like
you
if a
hear
man
women,
have an issue with a woman, how many men take their woman to
you
therapy?
said you meet a lot of men.
How many men sign their woman up for therapy? How many men, if they realize that your wife is down your
Oh, hold
back
on,
and she ain't doing
wait.
nothing,
Hold on, slow down.
DJ,
Slow down, DJ.
like I
Slow down,
said, it
Dad. Hold
comes
on.
down to, no,
Hang
I'm not
on,
finished.
Dad.
No, I always let you do it to me. Let me get my one time. But when it comes down to problem solving, I feel like that's up to the man. I feel like if men really took that initiative and really understood how emotions connect to mental health and our
How do
behaviors,
you know they
they
not?
would,
How do you know they not?
because how you speaking.
what?
So you discount all men because of how I'm speaking.
Yeah, because
What if
when
I
you say,
told you?
because when you tend to
Hold on.
prove points, you tend to bring up points that don't
Hang
matter. So
on.
I'm gonna do the same.
Hang on. What if I told you the same way I speak on this panel? It's the same way I speak to countless men and women that I've helped, and it worked. Then what
Mm.
would you say?
What's the percentage? I want to know the percentages, and are they still working? And is it helping? Because I know if the man, you can help somebody else like that, but you can't help your woman like that. Because I feel like when you talk
I
to
have a
me,
wife.
I need to. And she probably different, but a lot of women,
Ooh.
as you can see on this
I
panel,
think when you look around, it's not the people I help. It's not the people we talk to. It's not my wife.
But Darwin, we
I
can't
think it's
use that.
you.
I don't even know who you help. You can't even use that as
I
a
think it's
reason for
you
you
because
being
you just said
credible.
you meet
That's
all
not
these
a reason
men,
for you being credible.
but
What
the
did I say
man
that
you
discredit
with
me?
is not.
But what did you
Go
disagree
ahead.
with? I want to know what you disagree with.
So